Thank you very much for your patience, and let's get going. It's very difficult when you're the last speaker of an event to resist the temptation to make a joke about me being between you and the lottery of the prizes, me being between you and your own evenings and your plans for the rest of the day. So I thought I will try to think about something clever to say in the beginning. And as you were gathering back in this room, first of all, thank you for coming in. I know there are many attractions outside, so I appreciate that you did make it back in time. But it's been a great event, hasn't it? There have been many topics, following many tracks, and I think you are very lucky that you have been able to listen to so many great speakers, maybe to see many technologies in the demo rooms. So I have now the honor to try to put a conclusion onto today's day. And I will do my best to do that. Yeah? So it is a big pressure on me because hopefully the things that you are going to remember from today's event are going to include a couple of facts, a couple of ideas that I am going to share with you today. My name is Maciej Remiszewski. I work for IBM for the Central and Eastern European branch, and the backyard that I'm coming from is high performance and technical computing. Yeah? So I didn't meet everybody yet, and maybe your particular business is not something which is already today benefiting from the fastest supercomputers out there as much as I would wish. But I hope that what I'm going to tell you today is going to be indeed very relevant to your businesses, okay? I wanted to start by talking to you about technology evolution and technology adoption, okay? Who recognizes what this machine on the slide is? Anybody? Sir? Actually, thank you for being in the first row. I was actually talking to the gentleman behind you, but don't. It's a steam engine, isn't it? Yeah. And in particular, this is a drawing of the design of the steam engine as modified by this gentleman, James Watt, in the 18th century. Yeah. Now, everybody knows this machine. In fact, everybody is using this machine these days. Yeah, 90% of the electricity generated worldwide uses steam turbines in one way or the other. Yeah, be it coal power plants, nuclear power plants, geothermal power plants. The vast majority of the electricity generated these days is coming from an invention back from the 18th century. Yeah, but I think what is even more interesting is if next to this device, which on this picture is symbolizing the steam engine as modified by James Watt, as I mentioned, which allowed this technology to be really used and to really start the Industrial Revolution. The thing gets interesting if you compare it to this drawing on the left. Yeah? Now, unfortunately, I have to ask again, does anybody recognize the drawing on the left? If you don't, then it means that you are not that old. This is actually the depiction of the first manifestation of a, quote, steam engine, unquote. It has been done by a gentleman with an equally interesting haircut, and you probably know that I'm a fan of beards. A guy way back in a completely different time, way back in Alexandria in the 1st century. Now, there are two interesting thoughts here. The first thought is, as I told you, the fundament of today's IT, life, electricity, something that has changed the way that we do things in pretty much every domain of our lives, of our jobs, is relying on an invention that is old to begin with. But an even more interesting thought is that the technology, the realization of the fact that by converting water into steam, we can harness the energy to do something useful, the technology was there 1,700 years before the steam engine matured, yeah? And this is a thought that struck me, yeah? Because why is it? Why is it that we waited 1,700 years to take something which was just a spinning ball into making something useful for the industry? It's not that Heron did not experiment with moving things. Quite the contrary. If you are a fan of ancient history, you can look him up and you will see many mechanisms that he has designed, like temple doors which were opening, even vehicles which were moving with the help of energy that was harnessed with a weight that was lifted on a small tower on the vehicle, and then as the block was going down, the machine was moving forward. So the thing that I want you to remember, or the thing that I would like to bring your attention to, is technology itself, until it is applied, does not have the potential to change our lives, to change our businesses. But there comes a point where technology is being developed to a point where it can find very profound application, very profound changes can be triggered by adopting new technology. And I think what today was all about, and certainly what I am going to tell you in the next 20 minutes, in the next half an hour, is that within IT, we are experiencing sort of the same moment, yeah? Technology that has been around for quite some time is now reaching potential to help us do the things that we do best in a completely different way, okay? But if this is too old, if this is too black and white for you, let me put a little bit more color onto the picture by showing you an example of a situation which is very recent. I'm not going to ask you about steam machines anymore, but I am going to ask you about Psy, the Korean singer, yeah? Who has not seen the Gangnam Style video? Okay, for the record, nobody rose the hand, okay? Now, of course, it's an interesting phenomenon, yeah? And we can trace back how the thing developed. We can say that the video has been uploaded onto YouTube on, I believe, the 15th of July of last year. And then by the end of August, it became the top music video showed on YouTube. By September, this was viewed by 5 million people every day. By November, this has become the best-selling piece of music on iTunes in 33 countries. It has been accessed by people in 222 countries. And then finally, by the end of December, this video has been viewed 1 billion times. And it has been enlisted in the Guinness Book of World Records as the most viewed video ever on YouTube, yeah? Now, this is interesting, this is nice, this is information that you can use in the pub when you are with your friends, but let's take a look at the potential business aspect. Imagine that you could find out about this trend way before December, if you could find out about this trend in August. And let's furthermore imagine that you can do some business decisions, that you can actually try to make money off it, yeah? For the sake of the argument, let's imagine you are a company which is retailing or manufacturing sunglasses, yeah? Everybody knows that the guy is wearing cool sunglasses in the video. Now, imagine that you could spot somewhere in August that there is a big hype about this video becoming more and more popular. What if you could make some decisions that would help you to reach those 5 million people a day, those billion people by the end of the year? You would have enough time to think of maybe a new model of sunglasses that you could develop. You could look at your suppliers, at your manufacturing capability. Through analytics, you could figure out best promotions in how to market these sunglasses. You could try to build up a strategy, put up an online store, campaigns targeting the particular clients that are going to see this video. And effectively, you could make a whole lot of money of the simple, well, of the fact that you have detected something that is going to be something that everybody in the world has seen, yeah? Of course, this is a very particular example. I don't see many sunglasses in the room. You tell me why, yeah? But I'm sure you can see how this can be translated to pretty much any other area of the industry. So the point that I'm making here is things around us are changing very rapidly. And I don't mean the software that you have running in your data center. I don't even mean the IT industry in general. But, you know, electronics and computers are changing the way that we live, interact, work, create stuff, make business, etc. Yeah? And there are trends on the market that we see that are impacting the way that the IT industry needs to adapt in order to satisfy your goals, satisfy your needs, and ultimately help you to make your business better. Yeah? To try to hone in on those trends individually, I selected 4. Yeah? The first one, many of you will have seen this video. I was one of such people. Many of you will have seen this video on a mobile device, yeah? Not on television, not on your laptop computer, but maybe on a mobile device, yeah? The number of intelligent, interconnected devices is already ridiculous, yeah? According to IDC predictions, by 2016, we will have 5 billion devices, intelligent devices shipped, and by the end of the decade, that number is going to reach 20 billion, yeah? And these devices are increasing the number of also interconnected devices. Yeah? So one fact is that there are just more and more devices out there, but because they are all interconnected, this is changing the way that we are starting to interact with things. Yeah? Actually, I want to link it to another fact that consumers want to actually be able to fulfill transactions from their mobile device. Yeah? According to several studies, 2/3 of the people who own a digital device, they like the idea of doing something, of closing a transaction from that device. I mean, think of the way that we listen to music. Think of the way that people buy music, yeah? You can be sitting in a restaurant and you hear a song that you really like, you don't know the name of, you take off your phone, the phone listens for a couple of seconds, and not only do you know who sings it, you can actually buy it from your mobile and you can immediately get it and listen to it, yeah? So think of the way how this is changing the way that we are accessing information, yeah? The second thing is the impact of social media. Social media in general, yeah? This is something that we start to get addicted of, yeah? I have heard of a local habit from Estonia, please tell me if it didn't originate in Estonia, that when people eat lunch, they put their mobile phones or their smartphones in the middle of the table, and the first person to pick up the phone has to actually pick up the bill later on. That's how addicted we get. I mean, it would certainly get me a lot of free lunches in Poland and whenever I travel, yeah? Because we start to be addicted to these devices, yeah? And we are checking what do other people say. In fact, again, according to IDC studies, 40% of people spend more time socializing via social media than they do face-to-face. So to those of you who don't have your smartphones in front of you right now, thank you for listening to me in the traditional way and not checking what the stocks are, etc. Yeah, but this is not just in our free time, yeah, or in our private lives. Yeah, it is estimated that 20% of business users are actually going to move away from email and move to social media as well. I don't know how many of you are using LinkedIn, but this is something that I have found to be quite effective, yeah? You travel to a different city, you find people who are from the industry that you are dealing with, and you can make new connections, meet people at conferences, etc., yeah? I didn't send an email to know that a certain guy was there whom I have met last week, yeah? I found out about this via LinkedIn. I knew that he was in the area and we got together, yeah? So this is, the social aspect is not just changing the way that we spend our free time, spend our money on gadgets and commercial merchandise. This is actually starting to impact the way that we do business. And finally, a word that probably has been used throughout today more than any other word, is cloud, yeah? Because again, we cannot run away from the fact that this technology has arrived. The number of companies that have successfully started their journey with implementing cloud in their IT environment is doubling every 2 years, yeah? And we expect that the adoption is going to continue to grow at the same rate, yeah? So underlying these three trends, the fact that there are more and more mobile devices that change the way that we do stuff, the fact that we are accessing and sharing more and more information through social media, and that we are moving into the cloud model of consuming and delivering services, underneath all of that is a huge amount of data that is being generated, and a whole lot of value that can come from that data. So let me give you an example, or let me give you a couple of metrics, yeah? Again, according to IDC, by the year 2020, we will have experienced a 300-fold increase in the global amount of data since 2005, yeah? The amounts of data available worldwide are going to be in the tens of zettabytes level, yeah? In fact, our marketing guys worked it out. According to the study, there's going to be 40 zettabytes of data by 2020. And if you would represent each byte by a single grain of sand, you would have covered all of the beaches in all of the countries on Earth 57 times over, yeah? And this is an abstract number. This is a huge number that we, almost do not. I mean, I had to look up yottabytes and zettabytes in the Wikipedia to understand which one is which, yeah? But those are things that start to be very common. Think of the fact that there is 1 billion tweets every 3 days. Think of the fact that there are 650 billion meter readings in the world in 1 year. Everything is generating data, and the data is becoming more and more important, yeah? Now, the problematic thing here is, besides the fact of the sheer volume of the data, is that all of this data, or most of the data, 80% of that data is unstructured data. Data that we are finding very difficult to interact with. I'm not telling you that the databases are becoming bigger and bigger. In fact, the unstructured data which is not in a database, files, videos, Twitter feeds, whatever, is growing 15 times faster than the structured data that we have barely started to know how to deal with, yeah? So on one side, there's a whole lot of data becoming available. On the other side, this data is becoming more and more difficult to deal with, and underneath, you have all of the value that you can extract from that data, as I was trying to show you in the first social media example, but I'm sure that as we would go through the room, you could tell me many ways in which your companies can use the data that is becoming available to make more informed decisions, to have better insights. Now, those are the trends that are changing our lives. Now, what impact does it have on the IT infrastructure underneath? Because in fact it does, yeah? The kind of challenges, the kind of expectations connected with these trends which are shaping the way that the world is evolving start to have a profound impact on the way that we design and manage our IT infrastructures, or certainly on what we expect of them, yeah? We are moving from systems which are completely separate to the separate divisions of our company to systems which are interconnected, systems which are sharing data. We are moving away from applications and processes which have been planned for months, which have set, ready, defined users, to the desire to be able to implement something in a matter of days, because all of a sudden a new thing happens and a new kind of service, new kind of analysis becomes available. We are moving away from static data, static structured data, to big data which is in motion, yeah? We are no longer analyzing everything that happened in the past. We are not looking back, we are looking forward, yeah? And of course, there is the fact that we want to be able to have an infrastructure which supports that, yeah? So we can look at a number of aspects, but I think most of you will agree that there is a big and profound impact from what is happening in the world to what we expect from our IT environments. In fact, don't take my word as the important thing to listen to. Again, according to studies, 71% of CIOs and IT managers say that those changing technological factors that we have described are the biggest external force impacting the way that they are running their businesses, the way that they are operating their environments, yeah? So let's take a look at three technology, well, whatever you want to call it, imperatives that we see that seem to be on everybody's mind if you take a look at the IT industry. So the staggering, the astonishing, the really bad observation that needs to be made is that 70% of IT budgets, of IT efforts, are devoted to continuing to do what they are doing already. Yeah, we are struggling to keep everything online. We are struggling to find, as the Americans say, the lights up. So why is it? Yeah, why are we spending almost 3/4 of our efforts just making sure that everything is okay, and why are we not thinking about things to do better, about new services to implement, about new innovations to put in practice? Well, unfortunately, this has something to do with the way that our IT infrastructures have evolved, with the way that we have been expanding our IT infrastructures, and the growing complexity, the growing inefficiencies are something that cause us to struggle with simply just keeping the infrastructure up and running. This is very much true also in the space from which I am coming from. I mean, if you look at supercomputing centers, which have been established a decade ago all across Central and Eastern Europe, everybody these days has had experience with supercomputers, but again, the way that they have been expanding makes it a more and more big challenge for them to keep the systems up and running, rather than thinking about how can I get new users, how can I get new scientists to come here, yeah? So being able to spend less on managing the IT infrastructure, being able to raise the productivity of managing the IT infrastructure seems to be something on everybody's mind if so much money is being spent just to keep the machines not on fire. Yeah? And again, cloud technology can allow us to put in place mechanisms which greatly decrease the operational cost and greatly improve the efficiency. Another thing is data. As I told you, the number of data or the amount of data growing worldwide is huge. The diversity of the data is causing us some problems. But at the same time, we have done a joint study with MIT and IBM about companies which have embraced analytics. And to try to measure how much more likely are they to distinguish themselves from peer competitors who are not investing in analytics, who are not embracing analytics. Yeah? And the result of the study was that companies which do embrace analytics are 2.2 times more likely to get way ahead from their competition, just from the fact that they are looking at data, looking into data, and trying to make better, more informed decisions through analysis. Again, the second thing that seems to be a common trend is we need to address the topic of data. We need to unlock the power, unlock the value that is hidden in the data. I have heard many interesting comparisons, like data becoming the new oil, that we are in the area where data is the currency. Those who can actually extract value from the data are the winners. Those who struggle just with collecting the data and keeping it there are going to be the losers. And finally, a fundamental thing, that's why this is in the top 3 list, is of course security. Because if I am telling you that more and more importance is coming out of analyzing data, out of keeping track of what is going on, out of being able to put new things into practice, then obviously we cannot afford to be exposed from the security point of view. IT infrastructure is becoming more and more complex. Systems are becoming more and more interconnected. Well, one of the things this impacts is that these kinds of systems are becoming more and more exposed to security breaches. This can be an external force trying to do something malicious with our infrastructure. This can be a mistake. This can be a failure cascading onto other interconnected systems. So, and again, to quote a study, in a joint study with IDC, that there has been an estimation of the average cost of a data breach across the industry, and it has been estimated at $5.5 million. Now, we can argue if this is really relevant to our Central European industry or not, but if we are talking about these kinds of numbers, you must agree with me that security is becoming a big concern. So I told you about 3 things that people try to do, 3 things that people have to do, yeah? One of them is leveraging cloud, the other one is unlocking the power of data, and the last one is making sure that we can do security. So let me go into them shortly one by one, and actually even better, I will give you some examples of clients which together with us have addressed these 3 challenges in order to be more efficient. Yeah? So on one side, if you ask CIOs about most important things that are going to shape the future of their IT departments, 60% of them say that cloud computing is going to have a very profound impact on the way that they are managing IT infrastructure, doing business. And another interesting metric is that 54% of those are using cloud technologies in order to do new stuff. I told you about the 70% of money being spent on the old stuff. I'm happy to say that 54% of the cloud stuff is going towards the new stuff, yeah? So if you want to do more of the new stuff, you should do more of the cloud stuff, yeah? And being, again, a little bit more serious, there are various reasons for that, yeah? On one side, as most of you will know, cloud can allow us to reduce footprint, it can allow us to increase agility and flexibility, and it can help us to quickly deploy new services. Again, coming back to the glasses example, something like that would not have been possible in a traditional world where you would wait half a year in order to have a new division, new branch trying to deal with that. But to give you a more classical example, Veilcard is a Brazilian credit card company which has been lucky enough to experience 40% of growth, annual growth, over 3 years, and they simply came to a point where their infrastructure was not able to support that growth. Yeah? So we have done a project together with them where we have implemented one of our cloud solutions, Smart Cloud Entry, on one of our platforms, IBM Pure Systems, and we have been able to help them to save 30% of operational cost on IT. We have been able to give them an infrastructure that will sustain the 40% growth year to year, and we have done the project within 2 years. The 2 weeks, excuse me. 2 weeks, okay? So again, this is a concrete example from a specific company in Brasilia, and this is for me a proof point for how cloud can change the way that you are managing your infrastructure to lower cost, increase efficiency, increase agility. Jumping quickly, because I did notice your sign. Moving quickly to data, I did tell you that data is becoming more and more important. I did tell you that companies embracing analytics are twice as likely to get ahead of competition. In fact, if again you ask CIOs about most important things that are going to change the way that they are doing their business, 83% of them are admitting that analytics is going to be among them, yeah? But at the same time, with all of that data becoming available, why is it that 1% of the data worldwide is being analyzed? Why is it that 20% of the worldwide available data is being secured, yeah? If we are saying that this data is important, why isn't everybody doing that? Well, unfortunately, the problem is that, again, the inefficiencies in the infrastructure do not allow us to do as much as we would want with the data. But again, there are ways in which we can help. There are technologies that we can apply in order to make this a possibility. And I don't want to go into high-level details. I want to tell you about one of our customers. Now, most of you will know Vestas, yeah? They are the leader in wind turbine electricity generation. I'm sorry that I keep coming to the electrical example, but I have been giving a laptop without a power supply, and I hope I will survive until the end of the presentation. Electricity is important, okay? So if you don't believe me, then you just need to take that example. On a serious note, you know, they are developing their product, spending millions and millions of dollars to optimize the shape of the wind turbine itself, to optimize the way that they put the turbine together. Well, and they came to a very simple conclusion. Wouldn't it make sense to think about where to place the turbine? Because that is also having a profound impact on how much electricity can be generated, yeah? And in order to do that, from a scientific, mathematical, meteorological point of view, we know what needs to be done, yeah? You have to take a model of the terrain, you have to take weather data from the last however many years you want to analyze, and you need to solve an optimization problem, so that you also put the turbine where it is going to be most effective, yeah? Because then your clients can get a better return of investment, then your clients can get more electricity generated out of the turbine. Yeah, and they have been able to do that. By the way, there are some metrics behind me which tell you that they had to manage 20 petabytes of data to do the analysis, etc. Yeah, I will tell you one thing: they have been able to go down with the time of predicting where the optimal position for a wind turbine is in a given area from weeks to hours, and that allowed them to change the way they do business. Yeah, in discussions with the investors, they can already talk about returns on investment in that particular area. No, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I will survive. Yeah, there's still half an hour on the laptop. I have 5 minutes left, so I do apologize. Yeah. So this is an example of how analyzing data can change the way that you are doing business. Yeah. I hope that you feel convinced. And the third thing that I told you was that security is very, very important. And I don't want to defend the $5.5 million average cost of a security breach. If you find this to be exaggerated, send me an email. I will send you the study. But I want to say about something else. We were talking about mobile devices. In fact, 71% of CIOs say that the biggest problem in adopting mobility and adopting interactions with mobile devices is the security aspect, simply because there are so many different devices out there, so many different users. So if you want to open yourself up to interact with your clients, with your customers via mobile devices, in front of you have a huge challenge, because being able to support them is becoming more and more difficult, more and more risky. And of course, with the changing way of us interacting with companies, changes our expectations as well, right? I mean, we want to have the information available when we want it, when we are interested, yeah? If I want to buy a new speaker for my stereo at home, and I'm interested now to understand what the features are, how they compare, what the test, I want to do it now. I don't want to wait until the next conference about speakers, etc., yeah? Because now I want to buy it, and if I get the information now, then I'm going to be more convinced. I want to be treated by the manufacturer of these headphones as speakers, as somebody who is returning, not somebody who made one transaction, yeah? Imagine I bought a home theater system, I bought 2 speakers, maybe half a year from now, I will buy a subwoofer and the reverse speakers, yeah? You can make your own analogy, yeah? We do want to be able to cater for our clients through the mobile platform, but it turns out that security is a very big concern. And again, by almost 3/4 of CIO, it is being highlighted as the biggest challenge in adopting mobile devices, yeah? So, as is traditional, I owe you an example of a client who was facing such a challenge and who was successful with the help of IBM. Any tennis fans? Oh, come on. There's one, there's another one. You can, thank you very much, yeah. Right, so Australian Open, yeah? I mean, I do follow tennis as well. We do have a couple of good people from Poland. So I also have a personal reason to follow tennis. But the guys organizing Australian Open, I mean, they are a good example, yeah? They spent 2 weeks, They spent most of the year planning, but they spent 2 weeks a year running the Australian Open, which is an event followed by everybody. As much as we would want, not everybody can go to Australia to actually see it there. So people are accessing information via the web, via the portal, and again, from mobile devices. Some of them are having dinner with their fiancé and underneath the table checking the latest score. Others are running a blog where they rely on the information posted on the website to be able to do what they do. Yeah. So this is a very big load because everybody from the world is tuning in. They see a 100-time increase during the running of the Australian Open when compared to the average load on their system, and they had 50 million page visits in 2012. Yeah, and this is a client who again applied our mechanisms from IBM security systems to be able to have a platform which is secure, which is at the same time providing content and making sure that nothing bad is happening, either externally, that nobody wants to hack the website and put a funny picture on it, or internally, that no components are failing, no things are inhibiting them from doing the service. Yeah? They have run the event with no incidents, with 100% uptime. I think the thing to remember about security is all of the things that we need to do mustn't happen at the expense of the service that we are providing. And that's why this is a challenge. Yeah? So I had a lot of stuff more that I wanted to show you, but unfortunately I'm almost at the end of my time. So I will tell you two more things. The first thing that I wanted to tell you is we as IBM, when observing how the IT market is changing, when acknowledging those challenges, those expectations that CIOs and IT managers have for the IT infrastructure, we came to the conclusion that we really need to do something new. Yeah? We really need to put together the experience that we have collected, the technologies that we have developed into a new model of computing, yeah? To be able to meet that requirements. And in short, what we have come up with is something that we call smarter computing. Others may have their own little name, yeah? But there are three aspects that I want to highlight, and this will be the penultimate thing I will say, don't worry. The first one is data is in the cornerstone of that, yeah? You cannot do analytics by just taking your existing IT environment and plugging on top of that some sort of analytical engine, yeah? Because you want to be able to shorten the time from from data to analysis to transaction, so that the decisions that you are making, so that the knowledge that you can get to make better decision is available when and where it is most useful. Yeah? So in a way, we are moving from analytics in the back office to really analytics in the front office. Yeah? The second thing, to address the necessity for systems to be dynamically reconfigurable, and to be able to adapt to new changes, we are basing this computing platform on software-defined environments, and I have seen in the agenda a couple of great presentations going into software-defined environment, so I assume everybody is already informed. And finally, the important thing is that we also see the necessity of keeping it open, because it avoids a vendor lock-in, it allows you to make progress the fastest, and hopefully you know that IBM is a big contributor to the open source community. We have more than 500 engineers working on over 150 open source projects. In 1999, we have invested $1 billion to help develop Linux forward, to be able to make an enterprise platform out of it. On many occasions, we have donated patents. Technologies developed by IBM have become open source. When you talk about systems management, those of you dealing with clusters, hello, will know XCAT, which was a tool used by IBM to manage clusters. It's now open source, you can download it, yeah? So designed for data, based on a software-defined environment, and open, yeah? So I wanted to go into the details of each of that, but unfortunately I ran out of time. I want you to, at the end, to think back to the steam engine. Now, this is an IBM slide, and it will go away in a second, because with this slide, I'm supposed to tell you that we have great platforms, great hardware, great software, great solutions, which are cloud-ready, data-ready, and security-ready. But because I have been challenged to do the closing topic in today's presentation, I want to come back to the steam engine, yeah? I want to come back to the fact that we have technology that has matured, yeah? The James Watt guy did his modifications, yeah? I don't want to say from which company he came, yeah? But this technology is available for you to use, yeah? So you don't need to wait 1,700 years until the technology is going to develop. We've got the technology now, yeah? So I think all of our partners and competitors will agree when I tell you that we live in bloody exciting times, because we can do stuff that has not been possible ever in the past. We have, unfortunately, good reasons to be as effective as possible, as aggressive as possible. But we, from the electricity generation division, are happy to tell you that this technology is available now. Yeah? And we would be honored to be able to work together with you on changing the way that you do your IT, changing the way that you do business. And hey, if you go from your mobile device to the IBM.smartercomputing website, maybe you will see some interesting videos. I'm out of time. Thank you very much. And I want to hand over to the lottery, whatever the next thing is today. Thank you very much.